Must believe that it is true, because there's a story here that talks about cornering President Kenyatta about this parliamentary service bill and the perks that MPs want. Do you believe that is true? Is that true? Is that a fact?
I don't believe that's a fact.
If you're not,
I'm seeing it for the first time on the news.
They are quite unrelated.
No, I think what there is
unrelated.
I think this perception is just created by media.
Okay.
To get a more reason as to why.
Do you support this then? More parks? You support that?
No, of course. What I would say,
no,
what I would say is that we have not been exposed to this bill, and when it comes, of course, you know, let me put it clear.
Yeah.
Let me put it clear. Members of parliament are also employees, and also in terms of some issues that as any employer, like issues of medical cover, among other issues, they should
within their rights if they want to. But do you support it?
No, I have not looked at the bill. So
I've had a synopsis of this bill, and this bill tries to do many things. The issue of welfare is just a small thing in it. This bill tries to ensure that the Parliamentary Service Commission Act is aligned to the Constitution. All the other commissions have aligned themselves to the 2010 Constitution. It is Parliament that had not done that. And that bill has got some very poisonous provisions. In fact, if that bill comes to the Senate, we'll be making very significant proposals on its amendments, because it attempts to undermine the position of the clerk of the Senate, who is also the secretary to the Parliamentary Service Commission.
Right.
And how I wish that the media would interrogate that, rather than
but Kenya will always also focus on the money, isn't it? On the welfare of MPs and more parks. So that you don't have a problem with.
On the issues of welfare? No, on the issues of welfare, it tries to distinguish welfare versus remuneration. It does not take away the role of SRC to take care of remuneration. Right. But it says that an employer should take care of the welfare of its employees. And I don't think that is something that
you all agree then, finally, as we take a break now, and you see Deputy President had been lobbying, Raila Odinga had been lobbying, Honorable Raila Odinga, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, President Kenyatta talked about this. That if they really wanted to pass this, do you think they would have this would have passed?
Well, Raila Odinga was there. He was leading from the front.
And it did not pass.
It didn't pass, but
so what does that mean?
He does not control the numbers.
And that's why the headline's actually talking about defying.
No, they didn't defy. I think Raila Odinga coming there was not only he was not coming in there to police the people in parliament, but to show the country that he does support the implementation of the one.
What does it say about commanding? I mean, what they think in the party. He's the party leader. Uhuru Kenyatta is the party leader. Deputy President is the deputy party leader. Kalonzo Musyoka is also a principal in NASA and a party leader of Wiper. What does that say about them?
Well, the 137, we need to analyze where they came from.
Actually, there was a very big number from Raila Odinga's party, actually. Very huge number.
I think, Hussein, two issues here. I think first picking out and beaming on it that
they were defied.
That they were defied.
Yes.
I think cuts both ways. First, we need to acknowledge that what they do, even during parliamentary group meetings, even as they whip, but they also convince. Now, this creates the impression as though that members of parliament vote in a robotic manner. That when the orders are given, they obey blindly. But there were issues that definitely around this bill, as we have said here, that one cannot run away from. And I believe what they did when they spoke about it, and like Raila Odinga came there, and Kalonzo, was to demonstrate and show support for it. Individually, of course, as leaders, and of course in their positions. But that does not mean that members of parliament do not have to think and see
independently.
And I
think
there
was no we've seen before people being whipped to vote in a certain direction, and they do that.
I think there was no defiance because there was no common party position, maybe as Gladys say, to do parliamentary group meeting. And you have to appreciate that the president was busy with Blue Economy Conference. But
to say
one, he already pronounced himself on this matter.
One final point on this. You know, we've done these nominations at the county assembly level, pursuant to Article, I think, 197. And we let it not escape Kenyans that at the county assemblies, we've nominated more women to fulfill the constitutional requirement. The challenge with it is that what has been the impact and the output of the women we have elected at the county assembly level. And in many county assemblies, it has been a disappointment. Yeah. And that is why sometimes when we say we must implement the constitution, there are Kenyans who have had experience with the nominated members of county assemblies down there. And so there's a disconnect. And so that's why, Gladys, when people argue that the procedure of nomination must be transparent and must be known before the bill is passed, it is a genuine concern.
Correct.
Because at the county assemblies, largely it is we, the politicians, who do the nomination of people who used to support us in our campaigns. So that experiment, if it's going to be what will be transposed to the National Assembly and Senate, then it's a little bit scary.
All right. You really have to respond to that because now,
Yes, I'll just respond to that. Like I said, my proposed constitutional amendment bill actually proposes to increase the number of women in parliament, but through election and not nomination. And my argument has always been that women who have gone to election command more respect. In the county assemblies, it has happened in Homa Bay, it has happened in Kisii, it has happened in Uasin Gishu, where the women who were nominated were not even allowed to vote or were kicked out of committees. So yes, I know that it is a problem. But like I said, this current bill, the reason why I've thrown my weight, even though I don't agree with it, I didn't agree with it in principle at the beginning, but it's because I discovered we can cure it by managing who's nominated. Because I also don't agree that we should give a blanket check to parties to nominate women. But I'm appealing that if we pass this bill as it is, we can control who we nominate through amendments to the IEBC Act, to the Political Parties Act. And that's why I'm saying the lobbying wasn't done sufficiently, because had we convinced, because a lot of members that I spoke to told me, oh, we didn't know that that was possible. If that is possible, then I can back the bill. So we can now begin to convince them that we have a methodology. Let's attempt. This is better than nothing.
Let's take a look at some feedback. Let's take a look. You'll respond on water. Let's take a look at some feedback here. Very quickly, we have Kirui Kipto, Kibwezi East MP Jessica Mbalu, woman. Kitui South MP Kaki Nyamai, woman. Kitui Governor Honorable Charles Ngil is a woman. They were voted in. They competed for the positions and defeated men. I think this is what other women should do. Okay, that's what you think. Anna Kanina, ask Gladys if she still supports the abolishment of the women rep seats. My opinion, let already nominated members prove in themselves before we nominate more. That's a woman from her name, actually. Keegan Koech says, Gerard Gay, that's you? Yes. Yeah, he tagged you and says, that's correct. Women and youth have been mentioned several times in the same breath, yet the Constitution only caters for women in Bunge. We need to open a conversation over youth representation. And Abdallah Mdambo, yes, I agree with Kajwang, because 47 women representatives have done absolutely nothing. I don't think he said that. He talked about counties, right? Nomination in the
nomination.
Yeah, I hope not.
Abdallah Mdambo is talking about Gladys Shollei, you know.
Talking about the nominating at the county assembly.
Okay, I agree with Kajwang, because 47 women representatives have done absolutely nothing, so let women be, I don't even finish that.
Elected on merit.
Yeah, they should have elected.
Talking about you.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, let's take SMSs 22422, the first was on Twitter, of course. Mutua wa Anna Makweni, this bill should be discarded and this gender parity issue goes. Let women compete on created boundaries for them. Let each county elect 2 women from these boundaries. Even this special nomination should go. An MP stands for all rights, including disabled. Okay. And this one says, why are you arguing on a subject that is against public interest? Tumewaambia punda amechoka hamski.
You know,
but whoever you are, because you didn't send your name, you didn't give us They also don't want to talk about these parks and welfare for MPs and what that will do to the wage bill. But then that's besides the point. Gladys, I think you want to respond.
Okay, first let me correct the notion that my proposed amendment bill seeks to abolish the women representative seat. No, it does not. In fact, it seeks to pair 2 constituencies and ring fence them for women to run alone, which means Uasin Gishu County would end up having. Yes, the formula that is
it will be unconstitutional.
No. I think that, again, that's why I realized that many people did not read the bill. We are saying that if Uasin Gishu has 6 constituencies, then you have the 6 male or female can run in that in those 6, and then we instead of making 1 woman run the entire county, we pair them in 2s, and therefore there'll be 3 extra seats created for women only to run for a period of 10 years. The reason being is that in the last election, out of 47 women representatives, only 10 came back. The attrition rate is extremely high. Why? It's extremely difficult to become effective at a county level. Because you're competing with, I mean, if you look at a governor has MCAs, they have ward administrators, they have chief officers, they have the waziris that they have, and so on. So they are, and resources. So they are more effective. So what we are saying, if you truly want this to be an affirmative action seat, which means you want women to be able to compete equally at some point in time, then you must make them effective so that they can convince the electorate that they are indeed capable. And that is, so my proposal was that, and I think a lot of people confused. I was saying you abolish the women rep seat as it is at the moment and create more special seats and allow women to run. So rather than nominate them, we allow more to run in an election. Why? They showcase them to the public, but and at least they will come into parliament having been cleared by the public and not... What
guarantee would they have that when they run, they will win those particular positions?
He says we ring fence.
So ring fencing means that you're going to protect them, you know, so that they're going to run only against women.
Yes, exactly.
So that's what we're saying.
No, but it's better than the nomination that you're saying, because in this one, the public is having a say on who comes. We are saying, we are all agreed that we must increase the number of women in parliament to meet the one-third principle. The method of increasing them is what is different. We are saying we don't like the nomination method. My bill was proposing that we are able to increase the number of women, but by sending them to election, so that the Wananchi have a say on which woman comes into parliament. It will take care of your concerns that people are going to nominate undeserving, or it's going to encourage.
Hussein, and I tell you that the sentiments of many members of parliament, that's dead on arrival. And particularly because of the fact that you'll be making certain restrictions. But there's a third way, proportional representation. Because that's the only other way you can achieve that one-third within elective positions. So if nomination stinks because Punda mechoka, if Gladys Shollei's approach is going to interfere with these men, because
it's not going to interfere.
It might end up with some lockup, then we go the proportional representation. And these are some of the conversations.
It does not lock up. No, it does not mess up.
It does not mess up. Okay, that's fine. So we shall understand that. But the third option is a proportional representation system.
And even that I would support.
We are in a process where, for example, people like Raitu are already giving their suggestions, and the Building Bridges initiative is going round. And there is a possibility that we might get to a point where we are saying, let us go for a constitutional amendment. Probably we could consider.
In fact, and that is, we should strike off that section on the issue of punishing voters by saying, since you elected more men, we should now ensure that women are also in parliament. And I think now those are serious questions we should be asking in referendum, not creating more positions. And I think that is the way to go.
I think we'll be the first country. I think we'll be the first country to go to a referendum to actually take away something that is in the Bill of Rights. And not only in the Kenyan Bill of Rights, but the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights. So I find
but you know, interestingly, most established countries in the world, they have not even, in fact, Kenya, we have done progressive for a negligible percentage in independence, up to around now, we are doing around 20% in terms of gender representation in parliament, which means we are doing very well. And like some of the established democracies, even, of course, there are so many.
Rwanda is doing way better than us.
No, but you know, Rwanda, more men were killed.
Uganda is doing better than us.
In the famous Rwanda you are talking about is because of genocide, more men were killed. And therefore,
I don't think you can base that on any...
No, and that is a basic reasoning.
I think today is not a sufficient time for us. This is a very big topic that we actually need to...
Yeah, actually, I agree. I think we need a lot of time for this. And maybe we can come back and talk about this even after the break. And the other story is to be talked about. Kiraitu here, abolish presidential system. That's what it says to the Building Bridges initiative. Case deemed star of man who rose from altar to NHIF boss. The problems bedeviling the National Hospital Insurance Fund. And of course, this issue about maize. Senate demands Rotich and bed prosecution over the maize scandal. And that crazy night here, gloves come off as Kutunyi and Murkomen argue on live TV. Former governor also offers to reconcile deputy president with rebels. That is Isaac Ruto. Very interesting.